Okay, so before we start with the actual coding of this UI, let's just see what all the features that Android Studio provides us to make the views. Okay, so we have three different views. That is a code view, that is the entire coding part. Then we have a split view, that is the code and the view. And whatever you do inside this code will be immediately reflected to the view itself. So if you do something like this, you can see this is immediately reflected here. Okay, then we have a design part. So let's talk about the design part. So because I won't be using the design part a lot, I usually tend to use the code part or the split view, and I usually tend to write the views by myself, although you can just use the drag and drop feature of the Android Studio. Okay, so first of all, as you can see on the left panel, you have something called a palette, and in this palette we have different views. Okay, so we have a common thing, then that is text view, button, image view, then the cycler view. Okay, so if you can see there are various number of views. Then we have a button, image button, chip group, checkbox, radio group, radio button, switch, floating action button. Then widgets can be a image view, a web view, a video view, a progress bar. Okay, a search view, a rating bar. Then we have something called layouts. So for layouts we have linear layout, frame layout. These are the two which we'll be using more frequently, and this is called a constraint layout that you will get by default here. Okay, then we have a containers. So containers, in containers we use something like the scroll view. That is a very useful thing that we use all the time. Then the card view we use a lot of times. We also use the view pager. We'll be talking about the view pager in the later part of the course. And so we have something like a relative layout as well. So we'll be covering this as well in this section. Okay, so we have a lot of views. And if you need to use any one of them, all you have to do is just drag and drop here. Okay, nothing else. Or you can just drag and drop uh, things like this here. You can either drop it here or either drop it here. Okay. So this is one thing. So let me just bring up. Then we have something called an attributes. So attributes are nothing but the properties which are assigned to this image. Okay. So let me just bring. Okay, so there are a lot of properties. We'll be talking about these properties one by one when we use any one of these views. Okay, so you can take a look at all the properties that exist for any layout or any view. Okay, so this is one thing. Then you can either use the design or you can use the blueprint. That is the how the actual thing looks on the back end, or on the I would say on the actual device, and you can take a look at it side by side. Okay, and this the benefit of this blueprint is only that, like, we have a text view which is not visible because of the this image button that we have, but inside the blueprint you can see it quite visibly. Okay, there exists a thing which is there. Okay, then you have something like you can try out this view in different phone, and that is a very important thing that you do. So whenever you're making any layout for any of the device, make sure that make sure that you do your whatever the view you are making is not specific to your device, or let's say two devices. It should be a generic view, that it should be even for all the different screen sizes. Although you cannot cater all the different screen sizes inside using a single I would say single UI or single view, but you can cater most of them. Okay, so if you see here, if I select the Pixel 3 XL or the Pixel, it more or less look like the same, but only difference is that in the Pixel 3 XL, that is the 6.3 inches screen, uh, there's a more space between the top and the bottom. But when we talk about the Pixel, we have a bit of a lesser space, and that is because of a bigger screen size. But that would be applicable for all the major things when you make the UI. But only thing which shouldn't be breaking, that let's say you make something like for a Pixel 3 XL, okay, and you place something like a button to the bottom, okay, and you add some margin to it. Okay, okay, so never mind. Okay, so as you can see, this thing is visible inside your Pixel 3 XL, but I'm pretty sure this won't be visible inside your Pixel 3 Pixel, sorry, not Pixel 3. So as you can see, this button is out of the bounds. So make sure that you are not doing something like this, or even if you have to do something like this, that your view is not inside this container, you are wrapping it around using a scroll view that we'll be talking about. Okay, and in order to check things like this, you can just use a special thing on the Android 4.0, that is the layout validation. So if you click this, you get all the different screen sizes here, and you can take a look at all of them uh, by just scrolling them. And as you can see, these views are quite visible. Every one of them is visible now. Okay, make sure that you're using this thing and testing your use for all the different screen sizes. Okay, and yeah, so there are some things that I would like to that I wanted to talk about before we start with the actual code. Okay, so now let's start with the actual working of the code part. That is this thing. That is how do I actually add some views here, or what does these thing mean? Okay,